Hi. Okay guys, I'm so sorry. I am like a whole month late. I said I was gonna do a Q&A a month ago, and you know, life happens and I get busy and I'm traveling and I also am a nurse, so you know, I'm sorry. Please keep loving me, but it's here now. I'm doing Q&A and I'm gonna answer all of your guys' questions that you guys posted on my Instagram. And you guys asked so many questions, so I'm just gonna get started. First question is from Annie. That's how she spells it, so that's how I said it. Did you have planned what you wanted to do and be after high school? You guys got some bad grammar and you need to work on it, but I still love you guys. Freshman year, I went into college, had no idea what I wanted to do. I was undeclared. I figured out what I wanted to do because I was like, I'm not gonna take any classes that I don't need. Well, I knew I wanted to be in healthcare because I love science. I really hate business. I Googled most valuable majors and I think what came up was like engineering, nursing, a whole bunch of other ones, but I like looked up the highest paid majors and I narrowed it down from there based on what I would like. I ended up with nursing because I liked the flexibility of the schedule. You only work 3 days a week. In healthcare, you can work and have a job straight out of your degree after college. Like you don't need to go and get your master's or anything like that. You can, but you don't have to have it. I liked that it pays really well right out of college because, you know, I ain't got time to be broke. Next question. How do you manage having a job and traveling so often? I think like 20 of you guys asked me this, and I think I get this question every day. Kim, how do you travel so much? How do you travel so much? How do you work and travel so much? Or like, do you even work? I'm a nurse and I only work 3 days a week, and that's full time for a nurse because I work 3 12-hour shifts a week. It leaves me 4 days a week that I have free. So it's really flexible. You start to notice like when you're in nursing and you're like, hey, they all like traveling. It's so doable with your schedule. Another thing that you can do as a nurse is not only do I only work 3 days a week, but I can adjust my schedule. If I have 2 weeks, the first week I work Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. The last week I work, I can do math, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That gives me 8 days in a row because I work the first 3 and then the last 3 of 2 weeks. Even then, I can just have 8 days off and it's my regular schedule. And I pretty much do that all the time. For almost all the trips I've gone on, I haven't taken actual vacation days. It's just been my regular schedule. Like when I went to Mexico, I didn't take vacation. Hawaii, I didn't take vacation. When I went to Peru, I didn't take vacation. The only trip that I've used vacation days for has been to Iceland, and that was 2 weeks long. And for that, so I told you about how, you know, like I can like sandwich my schedule. The first 3 days of the first week and then the last 3 days of the last week. If I want even more time, keep up with me guys. It's not that hard, I promise. So let's say I have 3 weeks total. The first week, I work the first 3 days, so Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. The second week, I use my vacation days for that week. And since I only work 3 days a week, I use my vacation days for those 3 days. The third week, I work Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Does that make sense? So I have a whole week in the middle and my 4 days on each side. So it like sandwiches in. That gives me 15 days total vacation with only actually using 3 vacation days. Nursing's pretty much the coolest job ever. What's been your favorite place you've traveled to so far? Cappadocia in Turkey. Like the most magical place, such a culture shock. It is a really cool little town. There was like a few reasons why it was my favorite. First, that's where I went hot air ballooning. You get up at sunrise at like 4 in the morning. Everyone goes at the same time. So the sun is rising and you just see the prettiest sunrise and then just like hundreds of hot air balloons all in the air all at the same time. The craziest thing to see. Beneath you is just all these little cave formations. Second reason why I loved it, if you ever go, you have to stay in a cave hotel. It is the coolest thing ever. We actually stayed at this place called Kapi. It's on the highest hill in the city. The reasoning for that is back in the day, like the kings and the queens, they stayed at the highest point so they could see all their enemies. So the hotel that I stayed in pretty much renovated those caves and made them these like luxurious, gorgeous cave. In every room there's a picture of what the cave used to look like before they renovated it. Also, there was so much history there. We also went to this underground society. The Christians would come and they would be like, hey, be Christian. And they're like, no, we don't want to be Christian. And so what they did was they built all this underground cave system that had like a full-blown like ventilation system, storage, had kitchen, places to make fire. What was the worst part about nursing school, and what advice do you have for people going into their first year of nursing? The worst part of nursing school was the care plans. They made us do these care plans once a week, and they were like 21 pages long. And you have to wake up for clinicals the next morning at like 6 in the morning, maybe even 5 in the morning to get to class on time. But the night before, you have to make this care plan, and it pretty much says everything about your patient, their diagnostics, their labs, like all the tests they've done, why they're there. You have to figure out what meds they are on and the side effects of every med. It was like the most frustrating part of my life. It was the most frustrating part of my life easily. I cried like once a week in nursing school. It was really, really fucking hard. Like, it was no joke. It was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Do you travel alone or with people? I travel alone and with people. I love traveling with people, but not that many of my friends have the same flexibility and the same schedule as me. If there's an opportunity and my schedule lines up and the flights are cheap, then I just take off. Don't be scared to go by yourself. Just use general caution wherever you go. You know, just don't be stupid. Josh Sayo, do you do yoga? I hate you, Josh. And yes, I do yoga. How soon after nursing school did you find your current job? I got so lucky. I found my job almost immediately after. Literally like graduated in May, started in August. And I got into a new grad program, which is like impossible. It's so hard to get in. Where are you planning to go next? Do you plan to visit Mexico? Well, next, I'm going to Mexico, November 9th through 16th. So holla at your girl. Hola, holla. Can you give us a little background about yourself? 24, Taiwanese. I grew up in Orange County, California, from Cyprus. I really like to go to a lot of concerts, a lot of shows. I watch a lot of TV. I watch Netflix like all day. I'm like really active on the days I'm active, but on the days I'm not, I could sit there and do nothing all day and feel great about it. What has inspired you to travel? I'll never forget when I was 4 years old, my mom, they're on a trip somewhere, I don't remember where. I remember crying and crying and crying and just being so sad that she was gone. So I took out a photo album and started looking at pictures of my mom. It was like all pictures of her like traveling around the world, just doing all this cool stuff. And I just like, I remember being like a little 4-year-old and thinking like, I'm gonna see the world and I'm gonna be just like my mom. And thanks, Mama, I love you, that's why I travel. What type of test are you required to pass? To get into nursing school, you need to have your TEAS test done, which really isn't that hard. To graduate nursing school, you need to pass your NCLEX, which gives you your board certification of being a registered nurse. And that's hard as hell. How do you get by in another country with speaking different languages that you cannot speak well? Well, luckily, your girl knows English, Chinese, I'm kind of proficient in Spanish, which are the 3 most common languages in the world. So I haven't run into too many situations where I didn't speak the language. If I don't know how to speak the language, bring someone who does. Most places speak English though, honestly, like you can get by with English. If I'm really in a pinch, I use the Google Translate app. Most of the time it works even without data. So you can translate whatever and then you could show it in the written language. You can just show whoever. Why did you travel alone to Peru? And I got this question so much. I really didn't think traveling by yourself was that weird of a thing, but everyone kind of looked at me like, oh, you're going by yourself? Or like, oh, like, they looked at me like I was a loner or something. I'm not a loner. I got good friends and I love them. Except you, Josh Sayo, I hate you, you little fucker. I went alone to Peru because I have always wanted to travel by myself at one point. Not like only travel by myself. I mean, I welcome traveling with friends. I think it says a lot about you if you can travel by yourself. It really pushes you out of your comfort zone and really grows you as a person. You should be able to enjoy time by yourself as well as with somebody else. And I think it's really important. You should have a lot of friends, but you should also be your own best friend. Do you have any tips for new nursing students? I hope it's not as bad as everyone says it is. Get whatever classes you can out of the way beforehand. You can take psychology and sociology while you're in nursing school, just get them out of the way. Nursing school is so hard, you don't got time for that. Just be prepared because it's different than any of the rest of the schooling you've done before. Like what has gotten you A's in the past before won't get you A's in nursing school. It's a whole different ball game. Like the way they ask you questions is completely different. Every question is a critical thinking question. Every question, every single answer is right, but one is the most right. Oh, and if you can take pharmacology and pathophysiology before, get those out of the way too. Become best friends with your nursing fellow peers because they're gonna get you through school. And you know, it's normal to cry once a week because I did. And just don't give up. It's really, really hard, but you can do it. And once you're in the nursing program, C's get degrees. How do you budget all your travels? Well, now I'm a nurse, so you know, I'm making a little money. So it's not really that hard to budget anymore. But back in school, I really did try and budget a lot. I mostly stayed in hostels. I saved up for my trips. Didn't try to eat super expensive food every day. I would bargain a lot if it was a place where I could bargain. Traveling is something you really want to do. Cut back your spending on other things. Don't shop as much. Don't eat out as much while you're at home. Like make it so that you're budgeting for those travel expenses, you know? Spend less money on gas. Whatever is not as important to you, try to cut down on that so that you can have more money for traveling.
The Jeep ain't got me tweaking, yeah, I feel that. And then that done is traffic season, and I feel that. My bitch say, Vic, baby, you crazy, yeah, I feel that. Them niggas FUBU, they fugazi, lean got me lazy. I'm sipping on it, all they say, like drilling, they don't do